Now, it's time for our next debate, and up next, solving the house building crisis has foxed some of the greatest intellects in the country, but not Lewis Oakley. He's about to fix it in just 60 seconds. Oakley's outraged and he's going to tell us why.
Rent has increased at the fastest rate since records began. Our housing crisis is no secret, and it affects everything. When you're spending over half of your wage on just where you live, you don't have that money to go out and have fun. You don't have that money to plan for your child and get an extra room. You don't have any money to live where you work. And it's the failure of successive governments. This isn't a left or a right thing. None of them have built enough houses. So I have a radical solution to fix this. I think we should ban politicians from putting their targets for house building in their manifestos. Instead, let's create an independent body that sets the target for the government. And crucially, if you fall behind on such a basic part of the job, we go to an automatic general election at the end of the year. We cannot have this anymore. We cannot have politicians marking their own homework. We need a political system that says, look, we might want to do stuff with HS2 or education in our manifestos, fine. But the bare minimum, which is housing, that has to be done or you're gone.
Well, if we do that, though, is there not a risk that actually we'll end up with more general elections than ad breaks on a news channel, dare I say?
Good.
And then, you know, be totally snookered because politicians lie every 2 seconds.
Yeah, but this is about holding them to account. If we create an independent body that says, none of your nonsense, this is what you've got to do, how much more focused would their minds be?
Could I politely push back on a potential fatal flaw in this, which is that it's down to planning permission. And let's say that you end up with a load of Labour councils and a Tory government. All the Labour councils would have to do will be to refuse planning permission in that area, then the Tories would miss their
call it an election,
No, but this is the whole thing. If that pressure is on them, that you've got to do this by the end of the year, then they can start looking at laws. Then they can start changing the whole system and saying, well, look, this has got to go, this has got to change. This is so crucial. I don't want to hear any more excuses anymore for it. Oh, we can't do it because of Labour. Oh, we can't do it because of this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but another thing is, do we trust independent bodies? Sounds a bit like a quango to me. And we know they're not always the best at coming up with targets and also then holding the government to account.
Why don't we just
can anybody be truly independent?
Well, look, half the problem is that you've got developers hoarding up land and sitting on it, waiting for the price to go up over the decades and not being forced to build on it. But in actual fact, look, you've got 500 people a day crossing the... Sorry to go back to the small boats crisis, but I think it's very important. But you've got 500 people a day, minimum, coming across the channel on most days, taking up our housing stock. And you've got, for example, in Brighton, where I live, 10 years ago, the housing waiting list was about 20,000. I dread to think what it's like now. And you've got all these... not just illegal migrants, the Tories haven't got a grip on legal migration either. So on what planet are you gonna sort the housing crisis when you're not building houses, developers are hogging up the land, and you've got an invasion of the southern border?
But this, again, it comes to excuses. Oh, it's immigration. Oh, it's the Labour councils. Oh, it's this. If you said to politicians, you've got to do this, by heaven or earth, make it happen, they will do it, because they don't want to go for a general election.
Well, another point, though, would be, what about those people who are watching tonight who say, well, actually, I quite like Britain's green, unspoiled and pleasant land, and you're wanting to pave all over it?
I would say
what do those people do?
Only 2% of the UK is actually built on with houses. It's just not an excuse.
Can I make a revelation?
Go on.
I voted for the Greens in the local elections.
Why?
How did that work out?
Bins?
Just pure, well, and that pure NIMBYism. There's a developer threatening to build on a really nice spot of green land where we go for walks to the.
So you're to blame.
Yeah, I don't want those guys. By the way, there's new build houses. You know, if they were going to build nice, decent, characterful houses instead of toy town estates, I might be more swayed. But new builds. Sorry to anyone who has a new build house. If you're in a bedroom upstairs and you hear people making pancakes downstairs.
Is there an argument to be said that actually, if you do want to own a home, then you shouldn't be going out and going to bars, and you shouldn't be, you know, spending money elsewhere. You should cut back on your holidays, and your primary focus in life should be saving to buy a property.
No, it shouldn't be such a hard thing. We all need a house over our head. I don't think it should be this, oh, well, you've got to sacrifice for it. I think it should be pretty simple, that we can just get a house, it's affordable, it doesn't cost half your wage.
People don't work hard enough, they're entitled, they think they want everything delivered on a plate. I don't think people know how to graft much anymore, so I think you've got a good point there, Pat.
Yeah.
That's an argument. I mean, I still get, by the way, it should be easier. I'm not saying that, but I do think, you know, I mean, it does sound like you want it all, mate. Shall I throw in a Porsche there as well?
If you want. I don't think wanting housing at an affordable thing is really wanting it all. It's really the bare minimum.
You know what? I think the 2%, we've only built on 2% or whatever of the country, is a bit disingenuous, because obviously people don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. What you have is huge, really high density in areas where people want to live, which does make the quality of life go down in those areas. And also, it would help, yes, if we didn't just constantly build the most ugliest buildings ever. Look back to previous generations. We built the most beautiful housing relatively cheaply, I would have assumed, for normal, ordinary people.
I just wonder if we're going to see a retreat, right? Are we going to see a retreat? If Britain becomes impossible to home own in and rents become impossibly high, at what point are we going to see people not coming here or leaving?
I think we're already seeing it. I think loads of people my age are thinking, what's the point? Like,
I'm going to go.
Well, this is the thing. Where do you go? I mean, I know Australia's trying to get a load of us, but I think that's the thing. But once that happens and loads of Brits start saying, this is the new UK, we're all going here.
There is a problem in this country without being able to actually build anything, isn't there?